me draw you in here at this point because these are, of course, measures that have been announced now by the EU. Do you believe this is convenient posturing by them?
Look, I'd like to basically agree with what Sharath and Ambassador were saying. The reality of the situation is that several of the European countries, notably Germany, for example, they, they are suffering much lower growth because of their own sanctions on Russia and on imports from Russia. They are facing a slowdown in growth, and frankly, Chancellor Merz came to power on the back of a slowing economy, and he has basically accepted all the policies that have led to a slowing economy. So I don't know what's going to happen the next time around. My feeling is that the extremes, the extreme right and the extreme left, will become much more powerful, so, at the expense of the centrist parties, both conservative and socialist, social democrat. So I want to point out that I think it's absolute hypocrisy. And I think India is a big country. We cannot be bullied. And certainly, I mean, they can argue that it's because it's a Russian-owned refinery. It's a Russian-controlled refinery, but it's on Indian territory. It's subject to Indian laws and Indian sovereignty. So supposing you have, for example, European companies here, and they're also subjected to Indian sovereignty. So you can't say that this is, that this is independent of Indian law and Indian sovereignty. So quite frankly, I agree. It is complete hypocrisy. In my view, I would view it as an act that will certainly affect the public perceptions about the European Union as a friend of India, and especially in a situation where the Indo-Pacific is facing challenges, the European Union realizes the importance of India. So I think the sooner these sanctions are withdrawn, the better. And as for the fertilizer, as for shipping, well, I think India is coming up as a major shipping country. And I think some European countries are not very happy with that. Look, this is not the age of colonialism. This is not the age when European countries were riding piggyback on their colonies and doing very well at the expense of their colonies. India stopped being a colony in 1947. Europe had better get out of this colonial mindset and try to impose its own values on the rest of others. I mean, as Jaishankar put it very correctly, you feel any problem of Europe is a world problem, but any of the rest of the world's problems are not your problems. That is rank hypocrisy. That is not only double standard, it is very frankly an action that is very unfriendly and that is very unhelpful to Europe from the point of view of international security. This will be of great, joy. This will bring great joy to the Chinese. And there are Chinese networks active throughout Europe, and they would have been cranking up this machine against Russia also, by the way, and against India, and they'd be delighted at the success as demonstrated by this particular policy. It's a self-defeating policy. It's a policy where you're basically trying to see that the Indo-Pacific comes under Chinese control. And I think this is something that needs to be pointed out to the European public. And the government of India, I'm sure, is doing quiet diplomacy on this with the European Union. And I think I agree with the other discussions. I think this sanction should be removed from India, and the sooner the better. India is a friend. India is a partner. India is not an enemy, has never been an enemy. So please don't try and impose sanctions, because some people in Europe still have a colonial mentality, and they believe that the former colonies are not really former in any real sense of the term, only in a formal sense of the term, and they should obey their European masters. Sorry, we have no master except the Indian voter, and that there is no authority in India except the elected authorities in the center and the states and lower down. So I think, Uday, this is an extremely unfortunate action, and I think the European Union needs to reevaluate it and remove it, and the sooner the better. Thank you.